if I may digress beautifully through these videos, I can't help, if I'm talking about antiviral software, I can't help but talk about my experiences writing antiviral software. I have a book called Field of Chaos, which if I was smart, look, all these things I'd be smart, I'd have one near me. But I have a book called Field of Chaos, which is not only a account of writing antiviral software, but basically creating an accidental revolution based on this thing. It's a curious, you want to hear about the origins of Al Qaeda and these kind of things. I don't know if I have any insight in that, but I certainly nearly created a revolution by writing antiviral software, and my book Field of Chaos is about that. But when I wrote antiviral software, there's only a very small number of people that write antiviral software. It's very similar to the simulation, except there's an even smaller number of people that write antiviral software, and they are all crazy, which may, as these videos may attest to, it's probably the reason why I felt such a kinship with regards to writing antiviral software. I met a gentleman, I don't even think I'll say his name, but I met a gentleman in Malaysia who wrote antiviral software for the United Nations, and this gentleman was the strangest, somewhat most paranoid, but in his universe, he made sense. That outside his universe, and who knows how much his life was paranoia. He liked to think of himself in a kind of, not necessarily a 007 role, but just that his life was in danger, his children's life was in danger. I could take a photograph of him, but I must never publish that photograph, and all this kind of stuff. And he talked about writing antiviral software for the UN. And I don't even think I really talked about my experience writing antiviral software. I just think I sent him an email, and he wanted to chat with me, and it was quite a nice thing. And a number of the other antiviral authors contacted me. One in particular, I can't think of his name, but he was involved with some Northwestern university, I think. Anyway, his people contacted me, and Semantic contacted me, and all these other kinds of things. So they're always trying to work out what you know. There's this kind of paranoia of you're creating this antivirus software, and what do you know? And then of course there are the hackers and the virus authors and all the other people that contact you when you write antivirus software. It's all very strange and crazy. And when I look at John McAfee, who I've never met, I have a mutual friend with John McAfee. But when I look at John McAfee, I just think this is the epitome of the antiviral software author. He's made his fortune, he's lost a portion of his fortune, he's been charged with murder, he ended up in some, I mean, my friend who knows him has a series of stories associated with John McAfee, but I think he's an authentic and very curious individual. But he is really the poster child for the antiviral software author. And the nature of an obsession in software associated with these things, and how you catch them and how you don't catch them, and the risks that you take. And the main thing I had was, how do you remove a virus and leave the computer unharmed, unscathed? That was always really difficult for me. In some cases, it was just impossible. And, then you're dealing with communicating why you got to screw up all these computer systems, but then you can reinstall stuff and they're not going to have the legacy viruses in them and these kind of things. And it's interesting, actually, while I was writing antiviral software, I had such a strange group of people that were communicating with me, and I've never really had that experience since. I've kind of avoided it. I mean, even when I was in Silicon Valley the first time after the Rushkov article and working with Wozniak's people, there were plenty of interesting people there too, but just not the same level of crazy as when I was doing antiviral stuff. So yeah, this gentleman in Malaysia and all these other folk, I don't know. I wouldn't go back to it. This is one area of software writing where I have actually most of the areas of software that I've written on professionally, in some regard, I have very limited interest in going back to. It seems like, a step backwards in some very meaningful sense. But also, yeah, I wouldn't recommend children, parents don't recommend to children that they become antiviral software authors, because it's not a very coherent profession. Although people did make a lot of money through it. I didn't, but others did. And that's why they had to protect it, right? That's why you had to protect it. But yeah, all kinds of crazy with that stuff.